So, do your migraines get worse in the evening? And have you ever wondered why that is? I'm going to share 3 reasons for why your migraines might get worse at nighttime, and what you can do to try to see if you can help that out a little bit. This gives us fantastic information about what might be going on for your migraines and what might be causing them. So the last one that I'm going to share is actually a very common reason for migraines, with one super simple thing that you can do. It's actually a tea you can drink that could actually give you some quick relief. So don't miss out on that one, okay? So for those of you who are new to me and this channel, my name is Dr. Tanya Paynter, and I'm a naturopathic physician who used to suffer from chronic migraines and headaches. And now I treat chronic migraines and headaches that are not responsive to the common conventional approaches. So if you've ever wondered why your migraines are fitting a particular pattern, you're not alone. So if you're like every woman I speak with, you know there's something else going on that's contributing to the migraines, and understanding what our patterns mean actually lets us know where we need to focus our attention in order to get your body back in balance. But unfortunately, it can be really tricky figuring out, what pattern you've observed and what that means. And it's doubly unfortunate that most doctors don't know either. So, we'll talk, this is actually kind of a two-parter. In this one, we're going to talk about why your migraines are better at night. And then in my next video, I'm actually going to talk about why your migraines are worse at night. And most likely you fit one of these two pictures. In some cases, you might actually fit both. Maybe some days you feel better at night and other days you feel worse. So listening to kind of these 3 main things can help you understand, or sorry, 4 main things for this episode, and the next video is going to be 3 main things that can actually make you feel better at night. So you can kind of see if you notice any patterns between the things that we talk about and how that might be affecting your migraine. And at the same time, you get to listen to some of the birds that are chirping in the background, because I've decided on this beautiful summer day to record outside, even though it looks like I'm in my office. All right, so let's get started. So point number 1 for why your migraines might feel better during at nighttime. I'm sorry, why they might feel worse at nighttime. So infection. So nighttime is when our immune system really starts to ramp up. When you've been sick, how many times have you just felt better during the day and then just super crappy at night, right? That's because our immune system really gets going and starts to do its job at nighttime as we're settling down. And so if there's an underlying infection going on and contributing to your migraines, and this is a common time of day for migraines to flare up. So if you've ever had mono, if you've ever, like in the past, if you have Epstein-Barr virus, if you have HHV6, maybe you've been tested, maybe you haven't, parvo. Those are actually fairly common viruses that they live in us, and they can flare up at times of chronic stress, both physical and emotional. And so when you're chronically ill, lots of inflammation going on, then those viruses like to pop their ugly heads out, and then our immune system ramps up. So if you have never been tested for an ongoing infection, it's definitely something to rule out, especially if you fit this pattern of feeling worse at nighttime. Okay, so screening for Epstein-Barr virus, which is the monovirus, your HHV6 and parvo are the 3 most common ones, and they're simple blood tests that you can ask your doctor for. All right, number 2, inflammation throughout the day. So there may be something that you're exposed to, whether that be an environmental allergen, a chemical, a food that is inflammatory for you. Something that you're being exposed to is contributing to that body burden of inflammation. So a good place to start with kind of playing with this one a little bit is just a general anti-inflammatory diet, if you haven't done that already. So an anti-inflammatory diet looks like cutting out sugar and processed foods, trying to eat whole foods as much as possible, eliminating gluten, dairy, corn, soy, eggs, nightshades like tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, things like that. So those all tend to be fairly inflammatory foods for most people. It's also a fairly restrictive elimination diet. So that's something to kind of play with. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I actually have a free 7-day meal plan that you can request from me that I'm happy to share with you. That is basically 7 days of an anti-inflammatory diet. So it at least gives you an idea of kind of how to eat. So you can always just respond with a message or a reply to in the comments below and ask me to send it to you. And I would be more than happy to do so. Of course, I will need your email address. So at some point you'll have to send that to me. Okay. Point number 3, drops in dopamine. So dopamine is one of our happy, rewarding neurotransmitters, and it drops at night. It's at one of its lowest points at nighttime. And so we also know from a research standpoint that drops in dopamine will actually trigger migraines. And so this could be another reason why nighttime is a bad time of night or bad time of day for you. So things that we can do to kind of help support that dopamine drop or reduce that dopamine drop are focusing on some of the dopamine boosting foods and habits that we can get into. So unprocessed meats like beef, chicken, and turkey will help to boost dopamine. Omega-3 rich foods, so omega-3 fatty acids, and or an omega-3 supplement if you hate fish or have an allergy to like salmon or something like that you can't eat. So you just have to, if that's the case, you don't want a fish oil omega-3, you want a plant-based omega-3 supplement. But salmon and mackerel are 2 very high omega-3 fatty acids. Fruit and vegetables, in particular bananas, will actually help to support dopamine. And then some of the lifestyle things that we can do is getting outside in the sun through the day will actually boost dopamine. Now, this can be tricky if heat is a big trigger for you, or if bright lights are, so that might be something to work up to. But another thing that you can do that anybody can do is calming music or meditation. Both of those have multiple studies supporting that it helps to boost dopamine. So around the time of day, maybe an hour before your migraine or your headache starts to ramp up, you might consider doing some meditation exercises, some deep breathing exercises, maybe taking a nice cool or warm bath, depending on if cold or warm feels better for you and your headaches, and putting on some nice gentle music. All of those things can help to stimulate that dopamine production and reduce that headache, the intensity and the duration of that headache. All right, number 4. So this one's really interesting. So drops in cortisol. So cortisol is our stress hormone. It's our awake hormone. So we get big boosts of it in the morning. So this is particularly pertinent for you. If you feel really good in the morning, you rarely have migraine in the morning, but then maybe around afternoon, like 1, 2, 3 o'clock, when our cortisol levels slowly start to drop and we start feeling it come on, but then it gets really bad at nighttime. That is a common pattern for a cortisol deficiency migraine. And so if you fit that pattern, then there's going to be a big piece to that. Adrenal health, hormones, and cortisol, they all kind of go hand in hand. And so one of the things that you can do is you can try drinking a cup of licorice tea. And I wouldn't wait until it got really bad, because just like with anything, if you take it too far in, it's not going to do a whole lot. But if it starts to happen, you start to notice your headache kind of coming on at the very first signs, you can try a cup of licorice tea, as long as you don't have high blood pressure. So that's the one caveat to this. If you have high blood pressure or you're on blood pressure medications for high blood pressure, not for your migraine, but for high blood pressure, this is a no-go for you, because it will actually increase blood pressure. So that won't be a good fit. But in most cases, that's not the case, right? In most cases, people with chronic migraines tend to be low blood pressure, in which case this actually will help. And that's one of the ways that it does that, is it helps to raise blood pressure and it helps you to feel better. So licorice tea could be a really interesting trial to see if that helps to kind of at least reduce the intensity of the migraine. And if it does, and you do respond well to it, this is a big key for you, right? This is a really big clue that cortisol levels are an issue, and that needs to be addressed. I will tell you that when you talk to your doctor about this, there's a bee buzzing around the microphone. I wonder if that was annoying. Sorry if that was the case. So if you talk to your doctor, they're most likely going to order a cortisol blood test for you. If they do that, I can almost guarantee you it's going to come back normal, and they're going to say you're fine. Well, no. Okay. And as you know as well, blood tests are definitely not the end all be all. The blood test should be used as a guide to help us understand what's going on, but it is not diagnostic necessarily of a cortisol deficiency migraine trigger. So I want that to be very clear, that just because your doctor says, oh, I tested it, you're fine, that doesn't mean that's true. So there are other ways to be able to test cortisol. And in fact, if you want to push it one step further with your doctor, instead of just doing a single blood test, having a 24-hour urine cortisol level to see if there's something else that needs to be explored, which is basically going to take your cortisol for the entire 24 hours. And it's a much different picture than just a single moment in time of what's going on in your blood levels, if that makes sense. So again, as I've said multiple times before in various videos, the lab interpretation is, it's not awesome when it comes to chronic migraines. And again, if you've been diagnosed with this and you're struggling to figure things out, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's that you're fine. Your labs all look great. There's nothing wrong with you, even though you're walking dead, right? So anyway, I kind of diverted a little bit. But I think that is a huge thing. And I think one of these days I'll do a video specifically about labs and lab interpretation, because there is so much misinformation that's going on. Things are being ruled out that absolutely should not be ruled out on the basis of a lab draw alone. So I'll make a note to do a video on that here soon. All right, so those are our 4 points of why you might feel worse at nighttime and some of the things that you can do to see if it helps. As you do these and experiment with stuff, make sure that you're taking good notes. Have a migraine journal where you're just saying, yeah, I did this and I didn't notice any difference. It made it worse. It made it better. Maybe it didn't make your migraines better, but it made your mood better. All of those will give us small clues, and those small clues will add up to really big, big information pieces. So if you're interested in talking about what your symptoms might mean for your migraines and looking at how you can kind of get to the bottom and kind of work a little bit further at getting to the bottom of those underlying issues for you, first things first, check out my free training. The link is in the description below, and then it will give you instructions on how to book a call with me and my team. And we'll go over some of those things that we hear that are kind of common issues that sound like they're at play for you, and help you to kind of decipher that. As well as, kind of some next steps of some things that you can do to help yourself feel better and move forward in your healing. So let's see if we can help you figure out your migraines. Okay. All right. So until next time.